Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you our must-have camping survival gear. Now we really enjoy to go camping, especially camping out in the wild, and so safety gear is very important for us. That is how we can rest easy and really enjoy our trips, knowing that we have the insurance of safety gear should we need it. And so number one on our list is this inReach. This is a satellite communicator. You can speak to someone via two-way text messaging, so you can send a message and actually receive a message back. It also has, depending on what version you get, a map in here, some location tracking, and then very important, a big SOS button, which is actually locked. If you flip this on and then press it, you'll actually be able to send an SOS message to someone to come and help you if you are in a dire situation. So satellite communicator, very important. What a lifesaver. In fact, we have used this one time when we had a flat tire but did not have the tool to actually get the spare tire from its position on the truck, and so we were able to message my father-in-law and he could have a GPS coordinates exactly to the spot that we were at and bring us exactly what we needed, because we could actually tell him what our problem was and what he needed to bring with him. And so this is such a handy tool and on my list a must-have. Number two on my list is this GPS. We just have the Garmin Montana 600. I think it has now been replaced with probably a newer version because this is very old. When I say we, by the way, this is actually all the gear that we share with my father-in-law. They have been doing lots of outdoor trips for a long time, and so they've just accumulated gear over years, and so we sort of share between each other if we go on opposite weekends. And yeah, it's rarely happened where we're not either going away together or we're both away on the same weekend, and then whoever needs it most will take it then. But yes, this GPS is a must. Now, while the inReach has some GPS tracking and systems on here, it is nice to have a separate device that is dedicated specifically for that. Not only will it have more features, but if one dies or for some reason isn't working, I think the maps on here is okay, but it is a pretty small screen to view and not so easy to work. Whereas this is totally different, much bigger, updated maps which you can download, and lots of easy tracking information, also what elevation you're at and things like that. So it is helpful to have a separate GPS, and we do carry paper maps with us usually, but I'm telling you, after a while on the Forest Service tree roads, they all start looking the same and all the trees in the mountains look the same, and so sometimes I just cannot even find us on a paper map, and so having a real GPS that actually shows you where you are is very helpful. Number three is bear spray. So for us here in Canada, this is about the only defense mechanism that we have against wild animals, specifically bears. That's a big issue for us here. And so you can buy these canisters of bear spray, which have been bettered over years. What do you say? Has been developed over the years to now be able to spray at least 30 feet and for 7 seconds, so that's good. I think previously it was only like 3 feet or something very small, and for 3 seconds? 3 seconds and 10 feet? Something very bizarre, which you wouldn't even imagine being able to get so close to the animal, let alone that it would only give it a 3-second squirt of whatever this is. Anyway, it's supposed to irritate the animal and then give you a chance to get away or get yourself to safety. So this is the bear spray that we can get here, and then you can buy a little pouch to store it in, which then clips to your belt if you need that, although that's not necessary. You can just take it with you like this, and then they are all protected so that you don't accidentally pull the trigger on that. Now this is a great option, but we also have some, they're called bear bangers and bear flashes, I think. And this is because, you know, you gotta get pretty close to a bear if you're gonna use bear spray, and you're hopefully catching the wind in the right direction, because if you don't, all of those fumes will just be coming directly towards you and just an awful situation. So very effective in the right circumstances. However, we also like to have some bear bangers with us. I'll quickly show you what this is. So it comes with a little pencil tool, which you then can, well, first load with one of these canisters, and then pull this handlebar back here essentially, and then when you're ready, point it towards the animal and release it, and it will shoot a flare or a bang towards them, which is just supposed to scare them off. Yeah, and keep them kind of at bay, showing them that there is danger here and they should not come closer. So we also have some of these with us because, well, this is the only way that we can protect ourselves against wild animals here in Canada. The next item on our list is a shovel. Now, this may seem like an odd safety gear thing to have, but every time we have not brought a shovel, we have needed it. And so, yes, you may not think of this as a important safety item, but there are so many circumstances where you could use a shovel. For example, we've used it to reorganize our fire when it's super hot and you need to just sort of restructure it. A shovel is a great tool for that. We have used it to scoop out some of the ashes. Is it called ashes? No. Some of the coals at the bottom of the fire to cook on. That's been very helpful. We've also been able to dig a hole to actually make a fire in if the wind has been too bad. So sometimes you can't just make a fire out in the open because it is too windy or whatever depending on how high you're camping, sometimes there's crazy winds up there. And so being able to dig a hole and then make your fire inside of the hole is very beneficial and actually be required for safety, food, warmth, and so that's been very helpful. We've also used it to dig ourselves out of snow and mud, so that's sort of essential. And then of course you can also bring over some ashes if you are stuck in the snow. That is a very helpful way to kind of get yourself out of a ditch by having some fire ashes or some sort of charcoal close by to get out of that situation. So that can be very handy if you have a shovel to bring that over. And then you can also use it to dig a hole and bury some of your food scraps if you don't have a fire or you're not making a fire, but you are out in bear or animal country and you need to put your food away somehow that you're not consuming but you don't want to attract any animals. Digging a hole to bury it is another good option with a shovel. So we always bring our shovel along. And then number 5 is a pocket knife. We really like the Spyderco series. It has many uses. A pocket knife always is very handy in many circumstances, of course, if you're cutting food or just simple things like that. But in a survival circumstance, say there's an emergency and you need to cut bandages or a piece of your clothing, cut up food or some sort of foraging material. Maybe you would even need to make some kindling for a fire. Who knows? Just a handy tool to have is a pocket knife, and yeah, you could use basically any one. This is just one of our favorites. And it's interesting, I realize now all of the safety gear is orange. That's not intentional, although I do have a liking to orange just because I feel like not a lot of people like orange. High vis is probably very good anyway if you're out in nature. Number 6 is a log splitter or an axe. Now this is such an important thing to have because God has given us wood to make fires, but it can be quite a mission to make a fire with just a giant fallen tree. It's just not that easy, and so if you have some sort of axe or splitting axe, that will make the job much easier to quickly get yourself sorted and have a fire. And so we're always bringing along our axe or splitting axe. Very handy, and will make a quick job of getting a campfire set up. If you're out in nature and you need something to cook on or stay warm with, this is just a must have. And then finally, some waterproof matches. Now of course we can make a fire without matches, but it will just take much longer, kind of like making a fire without an axe or splitting axe will just take so much more effort with a giant log. So it will also take much more to make a fire without matches. And so if you can just bring some waterproof matches along, which is a tool that we have available to us today, bring it along and that'll just make it so much easier. And if they're waterproof, of course, this is very helpful in case you're ever in a situation where your matches are wet and they are not usable. Not a situation you want to be in, or if you're out of some kind of fume or lighter, waterproof matches, just a good thing to have in your safety kit. Well, I hope that this has been helpful. Just a quick few important things that we always bring with us. when we are going camping or heading out into the outdoors on a boat, whatever it may be, hikes, camp trips. This is a list of things that you should have with you, in my opinion, to make sure that you can handle any kind of situation out in the outdoors and keep yourself healthy and safe. Now, right at the end, I should just add a little disclaimer here that, of course, there are many things that can be on this list. Like, I can include way more things that we would just bring because, for just in case. But the intention of this is just to give you a quick list of some of our most important safety gear if you don't already know of these things. That will just help add some insurance to your trip and make sure that you are staying safe in the best way that you can if you're heading out into the outdoors. I hope that you found this helpful. If you have, please would you give it a like. If you've got any other suggestions that you think are definitely a must that I did not include here, please leave them in the comment section below. Of course, this will vary depending on what trip you're taking. But yeah, we'd love to learn from you. I'm sure everyone in this community would be happy to see what suggestions you may have. And you can usually find me talking about a trip, preparing for some kind of adventure, or just here in the kitchen cooking and baking some things, or out in the garden growing some of our food. And so if that is interesting to you, would you consider sticking around, subscribing to the channel, and catching some of our upcoming content?